according to some, it's about protecting civilians.
And our resolve is clear. The people of Libya must be protected.
Others say it's about oil.
The only reason they're interested with Libya is about the oil. You think we'd be in Iraq if the major export there was broccoli?
But some are convinced intervention in Libya is all about currency, specifically Gaddafi's plan to introduce the gold dinar, a single African currency made from gold, a true sharing of the wealth.
It's one of these things that you have to plan almost in secret, because as soon as you say you're going to change over from the dollar to something else, you're going to be targeted. There were two conferences on this, one in '96 and another one in the year 2000, called the World Mataba Conference, organized by Gaddafi. And everybody was interested. I think most countries in Africa were keen.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold. The UK has double that, but 10 times the population.
If Gaddafi had an intent to try to reprice his oil or whatever else the country was selling in the global markets and accept something else as a currency, or maybe launch a gold dinar currency, any move such as that would certainly not be welcomed by the power elite today who are responsible for controlling the world's central banks. So yes, that would certainly be something that would cause his immediate dismissal and the need for other reasons to be brought forth for removing him from power.
It's happened before. In 2000, Saddam Hussein announced Iraqi oil would be traded in euros, not dollars. Sanctions and an invasion followed. Some say because the Americans were desperate to prevent OPEC from transferring oil trading in all its member countries to the euro. A gold dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
The United States should welcome the self-determination of Africans. They certainly have denied self-determination to Africans inside the United States, so we're not surprised by anything that the United States would do to hinder self-determination of Africans on the continent.
The UK's gold is kept here in a secure vault somewhere in the depths of the Bank of England. As in most developed countries, there's not enough to go around. But that's not the case in places like Libya and many of the Gulf states. A gold dinar would have given oil-rich African and Middle Eastern countries the power to turn around to their energy-hungry customers and say, sorry, the price has gone up and we want gold. Some say the US and its NATO allies literally couldn't afford to let that happen. Laura Emmett, RT.
Firefighters are still battling to put out the blazes from what's been described as a pre-dawn airstrike by NATO warplanes here in the town of Zeltan. This has been the target of near daily strikes by NATO warplanes. NATO says that it's been trying to hit tanks, armored vehicles, anti-aircraft missile sites, command and control centers. Libyan government officials who brought us here, they say that this is a storage place for food, subsidized food that they distribute, food like rice.
People here now call NATO the crazy one, which lost its sanity. It is waging a wide-scale war on the people. They are destroying everything.
I've been in Libya for nearly 2 weeks. This is the first time the government has brought me to a site where there's such obvious damage from NATO warplanes. They are digging, they say, for the bodies of what they believe are at least 3 people still buried underneath the rubble of what they say is a health clinic. And we've found large numbers of syringes and other medical paraphernalia that seems to prove that claim. They say 8 people have been pulled out dead from underneath this rubble already. This city of Zeltan can be described as a front-line city. The rebel-held city of Misrata is about 40 kilometers away to the east, and the front line between the rebels and the loyalist soldiers is somewhere in between there. In the distance, we can see what appear to be military vehicles parked underneath trees, presumably to protect them from possible attacks. That is the unmistakable sound of artillery in the distance. Our government guides have brought us to this location closer to the front line. We can see smoke in the distance and hear the constant rumble and thud of some kind of artillery. We don't know if it's outgoing or incoming. And we've been taken to this site, which they say is a mosque and a school, clearly hit by an airstrike. Most of the local population appears to have vanished. We are closer to the front lines of this conflict. More than 5 months in, no signs of an end in sight. Ivan Watson, CNN, in Zeltan, Libya.
Hey YouTube, I was over here on Before It's News listening to M from Canada One's news that she had on these FEMA camps and underground bases. And so I scrolled a little bit lower and I was looking at the comments, and the first one says that basically that they're destroying the water supply in Libya and the factories that support the system. Gave me a link, and when I go over there it says that breaking news, NATO are targeting the pipe factory of the great man-made river in the city of Brega, where pipes are manufactured to compensate for damaged pipes of the river, the only source of drinking water and irrigation for 4.5 million for the people of Libya. Imminent humanitarian disaster alert. So, you know, I don't know if this is true or not, but the reason I'm posting this is because I don't discount any information. And so if you do know anything about this, I think it's important that we get this information out, because I think it's obviously something that we should not be doing. And I don't see any reason in the world why we have to be doing something like that.
It's not about justice, it's not about agenda, it's not about mobilizing people, it's about dialing for corporate dollars. These two parties have sold the U.S. government and the American people to the highest bidders.